Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm going to talk about the 5 best and the 5 worst things about Tomorrowland Music Festival in Belgium. One of the biggest and craziest festivals in the whole world, and I have got my Tomorrowland flag in the back of this video. And yeah, I just thought this would be a fun video to do for you guys. If you are new here, quick introduction, my name is Cotton Candy. I used to be a music festival vlogger, so I used to travel the world going to different music festivals to make vlogs, reviews, and tip videos about them. Of course, I haven't been able to go to any festivals this year because they haven't happened yet. So a few of my subscribers and followers like on social media have asked me to make a video about Tomorrowland. I know I have literally so many videos on my YouTube channel, but I actually do have a bunch of Tomorrowland videos. I actually have a playlist, so I will link to it in the description of this video. I have vlogs of the festival, a bunch of tip videos, and then informational videos about like the prices and the different types of camping and stuff like that. Also some really fun creative ones like all of the 17 stages of Tomorrowland. I like go through them all with pictures and videos that I took. And then I also have one of the history of all the main stages of Tomorrowland since it's very first Tomorrowland, and so you can kind of see how it's grown over the years. So yeah, I will link that playlist with all of those videos in the description. So yeah, this video is about the best and worst things of Tomorrowland Music Festival, and I know a lot of you are thinking, those of you who haven't been and those of you who have been, like what on earth can be bad about Tomorrowland? Like what are these 5 worst things? Every festival has its positives and its negative, guys, but for this video I'm actually gonna start off with the positives, and then we'll talk about the negatives afterwards. Like this really isn't a bash video, this is just an informational video from someone who's been before. So let's talk about the 5 best things about Tomorrowland. The number one best thing about Tomorrowland is the venue. It is huge and crazy and beautiful and amazing. It is definitely kind of like a Disney World or magical wonderland for ravers, and it's honestly so beautiful. It is just like, EDC is beautiful in the way that it has like all of these lights and decorations and it's really pretty, but ultimately it's like on a race car track, which is nothing, right? They start off with nothing, but it's actually really impressive what they do with that space and turn it into something magical. But Tomorrowland, the venue itself is like really beautiful and it's huge. There's like all of this water and hills and little forest areas. There's really just so much to it. There's even like a cave which they use for a stage called the Rave Cave. It's really amazing what they do with that naturally beautiful area. Okay, the second best thing about Tomorrowland Music Festival is the culture. Literally, actually probably this should have been number 1. The greatest thing about Tomorrowland is that so many people from all over the world come to this festival. When you're there, you will hear so many different languages, you will see so many different flags, like pride for your country is a really big thing at Tomorrowland, so everyone like has their flags. And then when you run into someone for your country, it's like, oh my god, like super crazy. And then when you meet people who aren't from your country, like it's even better because it's so cool to like vibe with people on such a deep level who are literally from such a different culture than you are. It's like beautiful. And it's great because like with camping, it's completely randomized to make sure that all of your camping neighbors are from different countries. It's honestly so cool, guys. Yeah. Number 3 is the epic lineup. And I know if you're a raver, unless you're new to the scene, like everybody knows about Tomorrowland Music Festival and everyone has seen like the lineup for it. It's always like super crazy and stacked. They have the biggest names. I mean, it's so crazy and there are so many artists on the lineup. Like when you see the flyer, it is almost illegible because there are literally so many names on it. I will drop some examples of their lineup right here. So as you can see, last year, RIP, so sad it didn't happen. Almost illegible for me because I'm kind of blind. I take my glasses off for these videos because I don't like wearing them. But yeah, I can't even like read this off my computer. But yeah, as you can see, there are literally so many artists and a lot of them are really, really big names. And so honestly, if you love EDM, if you love dance music of any genre, whether it's techno or hardstyle or big room or house, like this is a good place to go because there's so many DJs for each genre. And like basically if you have a wish list of all the DJs you want to see still, go to a place like Tomorrowland because chances are they are all going to be on the lineup. It's a really great place to tick your must-see DJs off your list. Number 4 of the best things about Tomorrowland is that it has 17 stages. So like, of course, with this massive lineup with so many DJs, you have to have a lot of stages to accommodate for that, right? Yeah, that's a lot of stages, but again, we already mentioned that it's a huge festival with lots of space, and then you have a stacked lineup with so many DJs, so yeah, of course you're gonna need that many stages. And I actually did mention, I do have a video about all of the stages of Tomorrowland. If you wanna check it out, you can. Like I said, I'm gonna link to all those videos in the description. And I mean, I do talk about the fact that they have a lot of stages, but they're not all like massive. Like, I would say the main stage is humongous, and then no other stage comes close to how big that is. And then some of the stages are like so tiny. But it's all about the experience. Like, every single stage has a different vibe and a different style and a different experience. It's really cool. Definitely check out my video where I dive deeper into the different stages of Tomorrowland. Number 5 of the best things about Tomorrowland is the food. And this goes into their dedication to celebrating different cultures of the world. There's so much different food at Tomorrowland from all different countries. Like, if I didn't walk a million miles during Tomorrowland Music Festival, I probably would have gained a lot of weight because I did eat quite a bit. I mean, I was burning off a lot of calories because I was walking so much and dancing so much, but like all of the food was so good. I got to try so many different types of food for the first time. Like, I got to try a Belgian waffle for the first time. I had some really interesting tacos that I had like all 3 days of the festival because they were so good. I had this thing called a ball of glory, and I honestly still think about how good it was till this day. And it was like such a good experience because I had my ball of glory, I sat down and was eating it under this tree, but like able to see the Rose Garden stage. So I was watching that performance, eating my food all happy, and yeah, it was just a good experience. All of the delicious food is definitely a positive. The only thing about the food is that, I mean, this is kind of a negative, but it's not like the top 5 worst that I chose. They have a lot of restaurants which look super cool and super bougie, but the thing is you have to like reserve ahead of time or like buy these tickets ahead of time to actually eat at these restaurants. You have to get them online on the website ahead of time. I didn't know that, or else I probably would have got it, but like when I went to Tomorrowland, I wasn't able to go to any of the restaurants for that reason because I didn't have reservations, I didn't have tokens, and all of that food looked so good, and so I definitely feel like I missed out that way. But next time I go, definitely gonna get some reservations for one of those super cool restaurants. Okay, so we talked about the 5 best things about Tomorrowland, and now let's get into the 5 worst things about Tomorrowland, which oddly enough, you will see that a lot of the worst things are the same as the best things, and here is why. The worst thing about Tomorrowland, number 1, is the venue. And I know that's confusing because I said it was the best thing, but some of the things I mentioned about the venue are that it is humongous. It is like so massive, and the terrain is probably the most difficult part about it because, for example, there is a lot of water, meaning there is a lot of bridges to get from one area of land to the other, and for some reason most of the time they are directing which way you could actually go, and so you might want to get from this stage, this landmass, over here to this stage on this landmass, and there might be a bridge going from here to here, but actually that's a one-way and you can only go from here to here this way, so you actually have to go from here, use a bridge to get to this landmass, and then use that bridge to go here. And it's just like a really crazy terrain setup, and there are a lot of hills and a lot of stairs, and for some reason these steps are like humongous in like length. Like, in addition to walking so much, I literally had a leg day because of how many stairs I had to go up and how many hills I had to go up, and so yeah, I don't know, maybe it's mostly because I'm kind of short, but yeah, those stairs going up and down them were really hard for me, and like I wanted to see a lot of DJs, and so I went up and down them so much. I walked so much. It is so huge, and so that's why I'm saying it's one of the worst things about Tomorrowland, is because it is so huge and like such a crazy design that it is like really physically taxing on your body. It is like a complete body workout the whole time you're there. I can honestly say that when I left Tomorrowland, I had lost weight, which is crazy because like I mentioned, I ate a bunch of really unhealthy food while I was there because it was all so delicious. And then I also drank a lot of really delicious alcohol that probably had a lot of sugar in it and they weren't really healthy. And so yeah, I'm actually surprised that I lost weight, but I did. Dude, I'm not even kidding. I probably lost like 5 or 10 pounds in just those 3.5 days alone. I actually really need to go back so I can lose some of my quarantine weight. Number 2 of the worst things about Tomorrowland is, again, the same things as one of the best things about Tomorrowland. Number 2 is that it does have 17 stages. And so for like me going to Tomorrowland, I actually like so many different types of music. I love house and drum and bass and hardstyle and hardcore and big room and techno, and I love literally all of it. So like all of the DJs I wanted to see were playing at different stages, and like I just mentioned, the terrain of the festival is not easy. They don't make it easy to get around, and it is literally so hard to go from one stage to the other. And I tried so hard to go to literally every stage at least once, and like even 3 days of the festival, I honestly was not able to go to all 17 just because there's so many, they're so far apart. There's so many DJs I wanted to see at different stages, and it was just like a mission. It almost took 20 minutes sometimes to get from one set to another just because there were so many stages and they were so far apart. So yeah, super cool that they have 17 stages. Like I said, they all have unique designs and their own vibe, and it's really fun that way. But yeah, especially if you like a bunch of different types of dance music, like having 17 stages is actually a curse. Liking so many artists on the lineup is actually a curse. The third worst thing about Tomorrowland, according to me, is that it is a daytime festival. So the majority of the festival takes place during the daytime. It goes from 12 to midnight every day, 12 to 24, except for on Sunday, I think it goes from 12 to 23, which is 12 to 11 p.m. in American, or the UK, right? Like in the UK, in England, you use both. So, and I know I have followers from all of Europe and all of England and all of the US. I definitely have been getting more into my analytics to see like where my followers are and stuff. And like, I would say evenly, I have subscribers in the UK, Australia, and some countries in Europe, and they're all pretty equal. So shout out to you guys. I think that's really awesome. I mean, I think personally, I would think that the majority of my followers are from the US, but really, you guys are from all over, and I love that. I appreciate it. Music is a universal language. Raving is a universal language, and I think it's beautiful that we could actually all get together at places like Tomorrowland to vibe and be happy together. And so I'm really happy that actually has translated in my YouTube channel. I just love that I've been able to reach out to all of those cultures online as well. The number 3 worst part was that it's a daytime festival, and I guess that's my personal opinion. You know, I am mostly used to going to festivals here in the United States that are, especially on the west side of the United States, predominantly nighttime festivals where most of the festivals take place during the nighttime. I just think it's better because one of my favorite things about music festivals and raves are the lights, right? So like LED lights, lasers, all of like the light accents on the stages. I just really like that. So like at places like EDC Las Vegas, it takes place all night long from dusk till dawn, from the time the sun sets until the time the sun rises, and like it's just full of lights and it's so crazy and beautiful. Well, Tomorrowland is mostly a daytime festival, and so it actually doesn't get dark until like right before the end. And so like most of the stages are designed mostly to look great in the daytime. Like they're very cool sculptures, they have a lot of detail, so they're not always catered to have like really cool light designs at night. Not exactly compared to EDC Las Vegas. Like I would say EDC Las Vegas stages are designed mostly around like the LED, and yeah, Tomorrowland stages are designed more for like the sculptures and the look and the design of it. I actually do have another video where I compare EDC Las Vegas and Tomorrowland. Again, if you want to check that out, the link will be in the description. And of course, they're two of the biggest music festivals in the whole world, so it's really cool to see them side by side. In conclusion, personally, I don't like that it's a daytime festival, and I think a lot of people who have been to a lot of festivals will agree that there's just something magical about nighttime festivals. Not that Tomorrowland isn't magical, because it really is. It's magical in the daytime, and then of course at nighttime you'll see like all of the lights go on and it gets even even prettier. But it only lasts a really short amount of time because it's mostly a daytime festival. Yeah. The fourth worst thing about Tomorrowland Music Festival is that for some reason it has extreme weather. Historically, most of the time, basically every year, Tomorrowland always rains. And sometimes when it rains, it pours. It's very common. It's like one of the things you have to bring with you to Tomorrowland Music Festival is you're gonna want a poncho because most of the time it rains a lot. You will be soaking wet. But of course, the great thing is that no one's gonna let the rain bring them down because everyone is having the time of their life at Tomorrowland. But yeah, I mean, it's not like super ideal to be like completely drenched the whole time of the music festival, but like also apparently Tomorrowland can have extreme weather of the complete opposite, because when I went to Tomorrowland, it was so hot. Oh my gosh, it was so hot. My skin was burning, I swear. It was so miserable. And like when I did my review about Tomorrowland, I did mention that I felt like a lot of people had really low energy. Like I would go to the stages and not a lot of people were dancing. You would have like a few people going super crazy and then a lot of people just chilling like with their drinks, and it was kind of like weird to me. But then I started to think about it, like it was really hot, and I can imagine most people were like really affected by how hot it was. Like when it's that hot, like the sun, it really drains you. And honestly, there aren't a lot of places with shade. Like at the main stage, it's a huge open area, and so there's no shade. There are a few inside stages, and so if it's that hot or if it's raining and you're not really feeling it, those would definitely be the places to find refuge. But yeah, I would say that's the fourth worst thing about Tomorrowland, is that for some reason it has extreme weather. It's mostly really wet, but apparently also it could be really hot, and both of them, depending on the type of person you are, could be really miserable. Just a fair warning, if you haven't been to Tomorrowland before, that's the thing. Bring a poncho and bring sunscreen, because apparently you don't know what you're gonna get. It was actually so hot that I couldn't sleep in my tent like at all ever. Like I think I already mentioned that when I went, I did camp and it was so hot that I couldn't sleep in my tent. Like ever. And there was like basically no shade in the campsite. So what I had to do is I took my yoga mat and put it up against my tent and slept in like the very little shade of the shadow that the sun was casting from like my tent. So like the sun would be here, and so it was casting like this little shadow, and that's where I slept. And I never slept a lot because for some reason the sun rose really fast, and then all of a sudden there was absolutely no shade. And then I did see a lot of people took like their air mattresses or sleeping bags and did kind of like the same idea, where there was like a fence casting a little bit of a shadow, and everybody, like a lot of people, would go and like sleep there in what little shadow there was. Yeah, it was kind of miserable, but you know what? It is what it is. The fifth worst thing about Tomorrowland, and this is of course from my perspective, like all of these are my personal thoughts about what are the best and worst things, right? So the fifth worst thing I would say is that most of the campsites are really quiet after the festival. Like the party doesn't continue. And like one of my favorite things about camping music festivals is that the party never stops. Like when you get back to the campsite from the festival, everyone is still partying. And I mean, like I said, I am from the west side of the United States, where most of our events go till really late and our camping festivals, and the party literally never stops until the morning. I know on the east coast of the United States, like a lot of events end early, which is like why I don't love them as much. A lot of them are mostly daytime festivals that end at midnight, or some of them end at 10 o'clock, which is 22 and 24-hour clock time, by the way. So yeah, those always seem to end early. And I don't know, I think I'm just like accustomed to festivals going late and camping festivals having like parties afterwards. The campsites are usually poppin', having so much fun. And so the Magnificent Greens area in Tomorrowland, that's like the general admission camping area, that area was always having so much fun. That's where the camping parties were. But like us, we actually stayed in like the pre-set up tents, and they have a lot of pre-set up tent options. So a lot of campsites that are pre-set up, and those ones are really, really quiet. Like those people definitely go to sleep after the festival, which is just not me. So basically every single night when I was there, I actually just went to the Magnificent Greens campsite all the time to hang out and party and have fun. Those were my people. All the people in the pre-set up tents weren't my people because they were sleepers, and I'm a partier. yeah. And I actually did like a podcast with my friend Devin from EDManiac. He's the CEO and he's been to Tomorrowland like a million times. And so we actually did a podcast where we talked about the differences between EDC Las Vegas and Tomorrowland. And he did point out that Tomorrowland, the location is right by a bunch of residential areas. So people actually live like right by the campsite. And I guess the majority of the pre-set up tents are by those houses and stuff where people live. So it would make sense that they're just in general like more quiet. But yeah, for me personally, that's the 5th worst thing about Tomorrowland, is that most of the campsites are very quiet and not fun afterwards. And yeah, you know, in the camping area, Market Square, there is another stage which they use on Thursday for the pre-party, and I'm just intrigued of the fact that they don't actually use that for after parties like every night. Like other festivals, other camping festivals I've been to, most of them have like an official after party hosted by the event, or like if there's a sound curfew, which I assume Tomorrowland has because of the residential areas, they have like silent discos, which are really fun, and so that's kind of a workaround. But yeah, Tomorrowland doesn't have like any official after parties. When the festival ends, it ends until the next day when it starts again. And yeah, that's the 5 best and the 5 worst things about Tomorrowland. So as I mentioned, I will drop links to all of my other Tomorrowland videos, which are super awesome, that you can check out. Probably my favorite, like I said, is the EDC Las Vegas versus Tomorrowland one. And then of course I have a bunch of informational videos about ticket prices and like the different types of camping, really helpful videos, all that good stuff. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, please do so. I really appreciate it. And if you love EDM, if you love different genres of dance music, which I assume you do if you're going to these music festivals and checking out this video, definitely follow me on Spotify as well. That link is also in the description. Of course, I'm super sad that Tomorrowland didn't happen, but let me know in the comment section if you plan on going to Tomorrowland. If it happens, fingers crossed that it does. Maybe I'll see you there. I don't know yet. I think that's it for this video. Thanks again for watching, and until next time, peace out, Girl Scouts.